Hello friend, today we are reading about this book, Oxford Reading Tree, Green Island, series created by Roderick and Alice Fraser. Start. Mr. Johnson took his class away for the week. They went to a big house called Seaby House. Mr. May went too. The children were excited. Seaby House was near the sea, and there was lots of interesting things to do. Everyone unloaded the bus. Some of this bag and chased all happy, said Mr. Johnson. We're only here for a week. Mr. May found a toothbrush. Whose toothbrush is this? She asked. Oh dear, said Beth. I think it's mine. Mr. Johnson showed the boys their room. You will be sleeping in here, he said. I want a top bunk, shouted Chief. No, I want to the top bunk, shouted Wolf. Mr. Johnson tossed a coin. Heads or tails? He said. Mr. Johnson gave the children a map. Then he took the children for a long walk. After a while, they stopped for a rest. The children looked at their maps. Mr. Johnson showed them places they could see. Your map's upside down, said Wolf. Mr. Nodin pointed to a little island out of the sea. What's that island called? He asked. Look on your maps, said Mr. Johnson. Who can tell me what the island is called? Chip and Anina knew. It's called Green Island, they said. Everyone was hungry after the long walk. When they got back, it was time for supper. The children served the food and then they helped wash up. I don't like washing up at home, said Wolf, but it's fun washing up here. That night, the children were tired, but they couldn't sleep. Chip kept telling jokes and making silly noises. In the end, Mr. Johnson came in. He was cross with Chip. I will send you to bed at 6 o'clock tomorrow if I hear any more noises. The next day, the children did a beach study. Some children walked with Mr. Johnson. They made squares on the beach and looked at everything in each square. Biff found a shell with a crab inside it. It's called a hermit crab, she said. Some children walked with Mr. May. They looked carefully in all the rock pools. Nadine and Wolf caught a large crab. Look at this, they called. Mr. May showed them how to tow the crab. We will look at it. Then we will let it go, she said. Chip and Anina found a seagull. It couldn't fly. Oh dear, said Mr. Johnson. It can't fly because it has owl on its feathers. Owl is hard to get off. So be careful, everyone. Mind you don't get owl on you. How do we get the owl off to the seagull? Asked Jeff. Mr. Johnson took the children to see Mr. Honey. If anyone can help the seagull, Mr. Honey can, said Mr. Johnson. This poor old girl needs a clean, said Mr. Honey. She looked at Anina and Jeff. And so do you, she said. Owl is terrible stuff, said Mr. Honey. You can see what it does to animals and birds if it spills into the sea. It is terrible, said Mr. May. I'm having trouble getting it off Chip and Nina. I feel really sorry for the seagull, said Chip. What will happen to the seagull? Asked Wolf. Its feathers will be dimmed, said Mr. Honey. So first, we will clean the owl off. Then we can look after it for a week or two. It has to get strong again, and its feathers have to get better. Then we will let it go. Mr. Honey looked after all the children of the animal. Animals. She showed the children on the an otter. Then she gave it some fish. She's a sea otter, she said. I can hear Fina. She was hurt by a boat. Now she's better. I'm going to let her go. Sea otter live in Green's Island, said Mr. Honey. If you like, you can come to the island with me and watch me let Fina go. Mr. Honey had a boat. There's room for everyone, she said. If we're lucky, we may see more sea otters. The children went across the green island in the boat. Mr. Honey stopped a little way from the island. The children looked carefully. Suddenly, Anina pointed to some rocks. I can see other otter, she said. Look, everyone. There aren't many sea otters left, said Mr. May. So that was a wonderful thing to see. Mr. Honey let Fina go. The otters dived into the sea and swam towards the rocks. Will Fina be right now? Asked Wolf. I hope so, said Mr. Honey. Mr. Honey took the boat to the other side of the island. You can get out and explore, she said. If you keep quiet, you will see all kinds of interesting sea birds. The children jumped out of the boat and went to look around the island. The children saw a small cave. They ran to see it. I wonder if it has treasure in it, said Jeff. Maybe it's a secret tunnel, said Nadine. Maybe it'll lead to a secret computer base. But when they got to the cave, they found something else. In the cave were some drums. I don't like the look of these, said Mr. Honey. These drums have been done on Green Island. They're full of toasty rust. Keep away from them, everyone, said Mr. Johnson. Why would anyone want